Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia. This is the update to Sri Lanka, or a report on Sri Lanka. Defense Politics Asia has now rated Sri Lanka as at risk after all the different crises that is happening to Sri Lanka. The CSI, the Country Stability Index, now for Sri Lanka is rated at 40/100. So this is just slightly better than Transnistria. So at 40, Transnistria is at 35. So they are going to reach a non-state level of a crisis very soon. So let's take a look at the details. So Sri Lanka is currently presided by Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and he's the head of this family of Rajapaksas that that controls most of Sri Lanka. So most of them have, I think, resigned, and then they have just reformed their ministers. They've just selected a new set of ministers, but we're not sure how it goes and whether he would even relent and give up his power, and that gave him a -10 in terms of authoritarianism, because previously the country has been controlled by him and his family, and this seems to be continuing to be the case as he refused to resign. And the lack of faith in him has caused a leadership crisis as well in Sri Lanka. So this created a really bad political point for Sri Lanka. However, there's no real political deadlock because his party controls more than half of the seats, although the smaller parties that was in alliance with his party has all bolted away from his party. So nationwide protests has broke out across Sri Lanka and is reels from a major political crisis, and the Rajapaksa family that rules most of Sri Lanka made a series of very bad divisions for the country. So they have slashed taxes to stimulate the economy, but instead it destroyed the government revenue. And due to the destruction of the government revenue, they are unable to pay their debts and almost defaulted, and the credibility rating of the country got downgraded. And due to the downgrading of the rating, they lost access to loans, and unable to take loans, they have been using their foreign exchange reserve to pay their debts. And as a result, they use up all their foreign reserves, and they are unable to pay for fuel. And without fuel, they cause energy crisis, fuel crisis, and probably economic crisis in the coming month or two. Because without the fuel, all the industries are now facing a lot of problems. The trucks cannot move, the buses cannot move. There are also, there are a few days where people just can't go to work. They have to force to work from home, and even when they work from home, there is actually a power outage, which caused them to unable to work at all. So this also exacerbated with a food crisis, because they have issued a chemical fertilizer ban previously, and this because they wanted to boost organic food production, and that resulted in poor food output. And then because of the fuel crisis, they made it worse because they are unable to import food as well. So they actually have required loans from India, and India also have delivered a lot of rice over to Sri Lanka to help to exacerbate the food crisis. So that's why fuel, food, and energy crisis have all lighted up, and purely by this alone, the economic side of Sri Lanka has dropped to just 5/20. And currently there is no negative GDP growth yet, because in terms of the GDP growth, let me check. GDP growth in terms of GDP growth, in the fourth quarter of 2021, the last 3 months of 2021, they actually have a 1.8% growth. That was coming from a negative GDP the previous quarter. But however, in quarter 1 of 2022, which the report, the numbers have not come out yet, maybe due to this crisis, is forecasted to be minus 3.1% in the quarter 1 of 2022. So if this light up as well, once the number come up, the economics will go to 0 and the stability index will go to 35. So the mass protests have caused a -5 here in terms of society, but in terms of crime rate, they are rather high, but not yet considered high crime. It's rather high. Their crime rate is at 41.39. For this to light up, you need to be above 50. Once you are above 50, you are among the almost top 50 countries with the worst crime. So they are not there yet, but with further worsening of the economic crisis, we might actually see an increase of the crime, and that is no good, because that will actually provide another -5, and with this that will be already 30 upon 100, and they will be very close to in crisis. And on the financial side, they have very low gold reserves. They only have 6.7 tons of gold, and that is actually, compared to their huge population of 21 million, there's only 0.31 tons per 1 million population. That's actually low, and their inflation is at a high rate. In March 2022, the latest number was 21.5% year on year. So 21.5% is actually rather high, but to light this up, it will be 25%. So we might actually see that happen in the subsequent month, when the number come out, and then this will stop lighting up and this will light up, because all these are not supposed to be concurrent. They are all the same thing. So that will contribute another -5, and that will push them even further down the CSI index. So, but they are far away from hyperinflation, because the government have not embarked in a money printing spree yet. In terms of national debt, their national debt is now at very high. In terms of the last number that I can find, it's actually 106.7% of the GDP. That was in September 2021. I believe this number would actually increase further if I can find a much later number, but currently the one number I have would suggest that it's already high national debt. But whatever number it is to now, because I saw a unreliable number, which was around 112% or something, that will still be under just high national debt, because you need to be times 2 of the annual GDP before you will actually go to unsustainable. But Sri Lanka might reach this point further down this year, because the GDP is projected to drop, and as the GDP drop, then the amount of debt they are unable to clear, the debt will actually push them towards this part, and then we will actually see a country in crisis. So the good thing for Sri Lanka is that security wise, in terms of national security, they are pretty much there. The last terrorist attack is actually 2 years ago in 2019. So I do not include that, because it's not an active terrorism situation. Their insurgency have been resolved by him actually, and his family, because he was a former general, and then they actually resolved the Tamil Tiger insurgency. So national security wise, Sri Lanka is doing pretty decent, and because the people of Sri Lanka have been really well behaved, and they have been doing really there in holding on together. So this society score did not drop further than just mass protest. So there's no mass rioting, so that's good. And the the government have attempted to declare a state of emergency on the 1st of April, and then they actually gave up and then renege on that division, and they actually stopped the state of emergency by the 5th. So this wouldn't light up because this is not an active state of emergency. If not, then the score will actually go way further down by a -10, because a state of emergency will declare that that the country is actually a little bit out of control, and when it goes to martial law, it's actually totally out of control. So so Sri Lanka wise, the society have been holding up pretty well at the moment, but things is going to get worse. So currently, so as per DPA's rating, the CSI rating for Sri Lanka is currently at risk at 40.100. We project that you'll go another -5 here, and then there's likely to go on a high inflation, then another -5 here, so you'll be 30.100. And in terms of unemployment, the last number that we get is 4.6% in January of 2022. Unless there is further information because of this economic fallout, we might see higher unemployment. I'm not sure if it will pass 10%. If it passes, then this number will actually drop to 25. So that will be the very limits of being at risk, and any further hit from anything around would actually drop it into crisis situation. So, but I'm sure that the people on the ground in Sri Lanka is actually feeling it very much like a crisis now, but the worst is yet to come. So hold on there, be strong, and hopefully you guys will be able to ride it out peacefully and without great harm. So this listed Sri Lanka here as the other orange currently on the map. We still got many countries to cover, and you can actually check this out in the defensepoliticsasia.com internal affairs page. So we will see how it goes, and hopefully you guys don't go below what Ukraine is currently have. So I will see you in the next update, and hopefully you enjoy this video and give you some kind of sensing of what Sri Lanka currently is facing, and you have a better picture, because the people there don't really earn a lot. It's only $200 a month, and that's actually not a very high GDP as well. So Sri Lanka is not a very rich country, and this crisis is going to last for a long time because of the debt situation and stuff like this. It's going to be a very hard fight, and hopefully you guys like it, and please press the like button, and if you find this very useful, and please subscribe if you have not, and I will see you in the next update.